research fellow at the Heritage Foundation. I previously served at the U.S. Agency for International.
PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives! Restore AIDS funding now! PEPFAR saves lives!
Restore AIDS funding now.
I guess these guys don't watch the news. They didn't realize that PEPFAR was one of the many programs that did prove to be life-saving, so the funding was restored.
That was a House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing today that was interrupted, as you saw, by protesters who were demanding that the Trump administration restore the critical and life-saving AIDS treatment program, PEPFAR. When I say life-saving, I mean like tens of millions of lives saved. They wanted the PEPFAR program restored because the PEPFAR program really has been shut down as part of the Trump administration's assault on all things USAID and foreign aid. Now, that last voice you heard there was the Republican Committee Chairman, Brian Mast, who thought he really stuck it to those protesters, saying, I guess these guys don't watch the news. PEPFAR was one of the many programs where actually the funding has been restored. You know, the Trump administration did claim to have exempted PEPFAR from their massive cuts to foreign aid. They claim to have exempted multiple programs that disperse what they called, quote, life-saving aid. But on the ground, those claims and 50 cents will get you 50 cents. This is what the New York Times reports as of last night. Quote, some waivers have been issued to programs that fall under the definition of life-saving aid, but the payment system that USAID relies on to disperse financial assistance has been inaccessible for weeks. That means even programs that did receive waivers have struggled to continue, according to multiple employees of USAID and the partner organizations that rely on the funding they distribute. Quote, in reality, virtually all of the HIV prevention funding remains frozen, according to 2 USAID employees and several aid groups. But don't worry, Republicans say it's all okay. They say PEPFAR is fine. PEPFAR is not fine. And it's not just something that's happening around PEPFAR. This was the scene today outside of the Department of Veterans Affairs. Protesters and members of Congress and senators showed up outside VA headquarters today in Washington to fight back against the Trump administration's hiring freeze, which, again, they keep saying isn't affecting the VA and veterans health care, but it absolutely is. Once again, the Trump administration is claiming that they made an exception to their hiring freeze for doctors and nurses who work in veterans healthcare. But once again, I'll sell you that for $0 and expect change. Here's the Washington Post reporting on that hiring freeze last night. Quote, a backlog of unfilled positions is building, even in critical agencies such as the VA, where badly needed doctors and nurses have been blocked from final approval to start work, even though they're supposed to be exempt from the hiring freeze Trump ordered. They're doing stuff that is devastating to the people they purport to care about. And then, when they're called out on it, they say, oh, we won't do that then. But the distance between their claims that they have reversed these decisions and what's actually happening on the ground is a big distance, and is a distance that includes life and death consequences, not just for people around the world, but for American veterans here at home. More on this story next.